toxic masculinity.
So instead, I'm going to move right along to your questions and your comments. So I'm curious what you guys have to say about the news today and everything that's going on in the world. Let's have a look. Abel Garcia writes, Chris, once you're reading the chats at the end, I have some stuff to say about the illegal crossings, and it's all firsthand experience from my family. Well, I want to hear it, man. I'm into the chat now, so I will just go ahead and write whatever it is that you want to write, and I'll go ahead and give it a look. Let's see here. Smiles G writes, "You're famous. No reply. You're famous. No reply telling you by contacting MrReagan.com, but the CBK Telegram channel posted your Porge Poros poster. BLM is in the center." I'll have to have a look at that. You know what? You know what's annoying about that poster that I made? MrReagan.com. Yeah. I don't really, the MrReagan.com, I don't even know if I have access to that. That was made by a friend of mine, and I never really used it, but, CBK Telegram channel. I'll have to look at that. Yeah, write me at the Reaganesque conservative at gmail.com if you can figure out how to spell that. But I'd like to check that out. Well, my poster, so I did do a poster about all the influence in America from Porge Poros. The only problem was that at the time, the reason that I made that diagram, that I made that map, was because I was doing a video about Jussie Smollett, and Kim Foxx was actually her campaign was supported by Porge Poros, right? As the prosecuting attorney of Chicago or something like that, Cook County prosecutor, something like that. So she was elected because she was a Porge Poros puppet, right? And so right there, big old in the middle is Jussie Smollett. So because that whole map was because of that video. And in hindsight, I wouldn't have made it so much about Jussie Smollett. I would have made his picture a lot smaller and emphasized other more important things on that map. I wasn't actually expecting that map to go viral, but after I posted the map, yeah, it did kind of go viral. It went everywhere, and I was just like, oh, I should have made the map better. I shouldn't have made it about flipping Jussie Smollett. Who cares about Jussie Smollett? Forbidden Chocolate says this administration is in alignment with BLM and wanting to destroy the country. You know, I don't want to think that, but it seems like it, doesn't it? It really does seem like it. Gamma Goblin Miller writes, "Did you see the shooting over there? I'm surprised not to hear your thoughts." Oh yeah, there was a shooting here in California. Well, the thing is, like that. So, like, you might think of that if you don't live in California as something significant, but there's actually a lot of shootings out here all the time. In fact, on my phone, pretty much every single day, there's some kind of a shooting. Don't know what the deal was with that one. I watched a little bit of it live, but I didn't see the full thing. I don't know exactly what happened. I'll have to go look back into it. But occasionally I'll check out the local news here, and we have so much crazy stuff that goes on. We've constantly got car chases and all kinds of stuff. It's just so much of it that we don't even pay attention anymore. All right, Abel, let me read your story of immigration here. Abel Garcia writes, "My mom and my aunts came to the U.S. illegally and came through the cartel. They abuse women. My mom once had to ride and hide in a car. The trip was terrible. She obtained a burn during the ride to the U.S." He says, "This was in the late 90s when my mom came to the U.S. I don't remember the full story, but I can email you the full story when I get home. But during the car ride where she was hidden by the cartel, and then he's going to continue writing. Abel, I mean, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Again, I have great sympathy for the people that come over here. I don't think they're bad people, right? Of course you're going. Of course you have the motivation to come here. Of course you have the intention, if you're a good person, to make money, help your family, all that. Of course. But we cannot encourage it because then these awful things happen. He writes, her thigh was burned by a muffler. To be honest, I don't know what the piece is called, but it was hot enough to leave a permanent burn mark on her. I mean, that's, yeah, and it gets a lot worse than that sometimes. She was lucky, right? Recently, there was a van full of immigrants, and they were riding along the highway, and for some reason, the driver, I don't know what he was thinking, but he ran straight into a semi-truck and just absolutely obliterated the car and killed a bunch of the people in that car. And this kind of thing happens a lot, right? Where they find just a bunch of dead bodies in a car. for various reasons. I mean, not a lot, but it happens enough to where it's pretty tragic, right? The lives of these people aren't necessarily made better every single time they do this, difficult illegal journey, right? And of course, the leftists will all say, "Well, just open up the borders. Just open up the borders." No, that's not that's not an appropriate solution. The appropriate solution is close off the borders and allow people in slowly as we determine that they are not a threat, that they're maybe a good person, they have a good intention. Maybe we need them for the United States workforce or something like that. But I agree with Ann Coulter. A moratorium on all immigration for a number of years may be a good idea. Now, I'm the kind of person. This is, it's interesting. Like, there is there is a kind of claim that the left makes about the right, that we're all racist and we only want immigrants from European white countries. Because we're racist, and it's such a sinister, horrible claim. The reason it's such a horrible claim is because I do think that we should prioritize immigration from Europe, but not because they're white people, because they share our values, they share our traditions, they share, at least in Britain and Australia and places like that, they share our language, right? They share this core of Christianity, right? That comes out of Europe. And right, so there's a lot of things. Like, I think that we should rate countries based on their ability to integrate into a traditional American culture, right? Not the kind of like Antifa culture, obviously, but traditional American culture. If they have traditional American values, or they come from a country with traditional American values, maybe we should prioritize those countries first, and other countries maybe second, third, fourth, whatever. If they have similar laws, if they have similar crime rates or lower crime rates than America, we can prioritize them that way. You take into account all these little things, and then who do you end up getting? You end up getting really smart people that help out the country. You get talented people. You get sophisticated people, charming people. You get the kind of people that you want. You want desirable people to come to the United States. You don't want America to be a place where we attract a bunch of different people from all around the world that, many of whom may be great people, but many of whom may be drug dealers. They may be criminals, things like that. So to me, yeah, I do think that we should discriminate based on country, not on race, of course, but they'll say that that's what Republicans want. But I don't understand why we wouldn't want the best of the best coming here. There's this idea that on the left, it's like, no, we got to be charitable to everybody outside the United States. No, you don't. That is not the job of politicians. The job of politicians is to be sympathetic to their constituents, the people of this country. That's it. Nobody outside the country. If you want to help out people from other countries, I highly encourage you to do so. I think it's a great idea. I think everybody should do that in the country where they are. There's a beautiful video about this on YouTube. Look it up. It's a guy with a bunch of gumballs, right? He's got this tube of gumballs, and he says, this is how many people that we take in every year from immigration. He shows like from every country how many poor people would want to come to America, right? How many people are below the poverty line. And he's like, this is in South America, and he's like, this is in Africa, and this is in Asia. And it's like this whole table full of tubes of gumballs, and he's like, this is how many immigrants we take in every year. It's like one gumball. He's like, you think we're going to help the world out by taking in immigrants? We can't. I highly encourage everybody to watch the video. I kind of forgot about it. I'm going to go ahead and put it on my channel again, because it's an absolutely beautiful illustration of exactly what the problem is trying to accept immigrants into America. If you accepted every single impoverished person around the world into the United States in order to help out people in the world, you'd destroy the country. You would absolutely destroy the country. So we do need an absolutely airtight border. I just hit a button or something by slamming on my table. All right, let's see here. Abel also said that my mom and aunts aren't bad people, nor are the people coming in. The evil people are the cartels and the people who allow this to happen. Women and girls are raped by the cartel. Well, that's absolutely right. I mean, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. The cartel will target not the person that they are using, but their families as well to get their way through violence, money, etc. Yeah, I mean, these Mexican cartels and these gangs, they're not good people. They're not people that we want to empower and we want to enrich. He says the cartel treat the people who they escort like livestock, numbers. They do not care about the people once they get the money. Frank James writes, it's going to become mostly peaceful protest day, and then it's going to become an American tradition ultimately. Oh, it's going to become mostly peaceful protest day, is what he's saying. It's going to become an American tradition. Ultimately, it'll result in the purge. I don't know, man. I don't know. Joshua Sanabria says, remember, we aren't allowed to say some people are better than others unless race is involved. In that case, any racial minority is better than the majority. Well, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's really weird because I can say, like, I genuinely believe some cultures are better than others. That's not to say that the people within those cultures are better. There's some real a-holes in great cultures, and there's some really amazing people in, I think, cultures that are, have some serious problems. But that said, you should be able to criticize culture. You shouldn't. I don't think race is something that's a fair game to be criticizing. However, the left seems to have the opposite sense. They have the sense that, oh, every culture is pure and perfect, except white culture, obviously. And then, but then, like, we have to actually judge people by race. And, like, black people are at the top, then it's probably Muslims of whatever country. And then, maybe Middle Eastern Muslims specifically. And then it's probably Hispanics. And then it's probably, Asians are way down at the bottom near white people. You don't get as bad as white people. You certainly don't get as bad as white people. They are the absolute worst, hands down. There is nobody worse. Anyway, yeah. So, I think it's been a good show, guys. I always love hearing what you guys have to say. Binary Recoil writes, innocent until proven conservative. I just watched this video with JD, whatever his name is. Yeah, the comedy guy. I love that guy. And he has this thing where he comes out as trans, but he's trans political. He's like, I spent most of my life as a Democrat, and then I transitioned to being a Republican, so I'm trans political. And he's like, the problem is that a lot of Democrats are, they're not accepting of my lifestyle. It's one of his best videos. I mean, it's really quite good. He's got some new camera equipment. I mean, the audio is perfect. The videos, it's beautiful. You guys got to check that out if you haven't seen it yet. Trans political. Forget the guy's name, but anyway, the guy's genius. All right. Love you guys. You guys are the best audience on all of YouTube. I'm going to cut it short today because I'm really, really sleepy. I got up really early again. I've been working basically from the morning until now. I got another good video to post. So tomorrow morning, there is a great video called Joe Biden. I think, what do I call it? Joe Biden is stealing Trump's victories. Something like that. Joe Biden is stealing all of Trump's victories. Basically, the video is about how, Democrats are wrong. They're wrong about everything. Republicans have been basically right about just about everything, Trump especially. Democrats don't like that. They're not doing well with this, right? I mean, if you're in a competition with somebody and you turn out to be right or better than them, it's very easy to deal with that, right? You just kind of like shake your head at your opponent. They lost. Shame. Sorry about that, pal. And then you move on, confident, victorious. Democrats can't do that, right? They cried and screamed about how Trump is going to be this evil fascist, and he wasn't. And so now what do they have to do? They have to basically try to convince everybody that they're right, despite the fact they've been proven wrong for years. And their new tactic is, this is something the Biden administration is working on. We're totally better, improving the economy. We're totally getting the COVID vaccine out. We're totally doing all this great stuff. And Trump who? No. That had nothing to do with Trump, right? JP Sears. That's what you're talking about, JP Sears. What did I say JD for? Is it JP Sears? That's right. He's the guy that did the trans political video. He's awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Again, okay, I am going to close it out. You guys are superbly awesome. I always love your comments. I always love what you guys have to say. And I can't wait to talk to you guys again tomorrow. We're going to have some new, really awesome stories to cover. I hope. We'll find out. And but until then, you guys sleep well. Have a good night. And I'll see you tomorrow. The least professional show on YouTube. Remember that. Toxic Masculinity. Toxic Army. I will see you tomorrow. Toxic Masculinity.